Hi, Casper. What? What's that, boy? Is it time to go live on stream? Is it? Is it time? Oh, hello there, chat gang. I didn't see you come in. Getting mobbed by my dogs. Wait, you nobody ruins a live broadcast like you, Mochi. Stop. Oh my gosh. I got GW kits for my birthday, and I'm working on building vampirates on Christmas Eve. Look at that. That's pretty awesome. So, good to see y'all both here. You know, Merry Christmas. Got my glass of holiday cheer right here. Excuse me. Got your colossal squig. Nice. Nice. So, I guess, Kicker, you're just the first thing I saw in there. What's a petty grievance you would like to air on this most festive of days? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be full screen here. There we go. Got old fashions for the night? Okay, so you're not originally from Wisconsin, so I gotta ask you the most important question. Brandy or bourbon old fashioned? Brandy? Good man. Good man. My man. Nice. Nice. I've got just a hot toddy here. So, double size. I'm using my like super sized. I think this is the biggest the biggest coffee mug I own while still being a coffee mug. I think this is it. I find your lack of caffeine disturbing. And then this is the matching coaster. Actually got this last year or 2 years ago for Christmas. So the matching coaster that goes with that. Lesser known fact about me is I collect cups. I think I've mentioned this before. So this will be for our ale later on tonight. Yeah, that doesn't help. But Milwaukee Brewing Company, MKE, really good beer. If you ever go to Milwaukee, MKE I think has the best brewery tour. Riverfront is pretty good, but Riverfront like gives you tokens, and the only way you get the glass at the end of the tour is if you don't like use them all or some stupid shit. MKE, I always get accidentally drunk when I do their tour, so this is the one I recommend. And then we got the Rainbow City here, which I think is just awesome. So this is probably my latest collection. Love that glass, so we'll be using that for the stout I crack open here in a second. Once my toddler goes to sleep, we'll have a GNT. Gin and tonic, I think you mean. What's your secret to a good gin and tonic? Because I personally don't like gin. I am told by gin people that, oh, no, I'm just doing gin wrong. So maybe you can teach me. Yeah, MKE is, I think they're the best. Believe it or not, the Miller Tour isn't bad either. The little Miller Village that's down there, like, it's oddly decent. But yeah, MKE I think is the best. So if you do end up in like doing a brewery tour in Milwaukee, they're really good. There's like a dozen great like wine and cheese bars too. So a lot of really good ways to get your drink on in a manner that seems like you're celebrating and not actually just a troubled drinker. So I want just in Merry Christmas to everybody. You know, Happy Hanukkah if that's your shtick. Happy Kwanzaa. You know, if you don't celebrate, the holidays for whatever reason, I'm wishing you good a good time anyway. I think it's important to, happy Saturnalia, whatever it is. I think it's important to give yourself mental breaks, give yourself, like, holidays, just give yourself an excuse sometimes. It can be something as simple as just, like, giving yourself an excuse to just be alone with yourself or alone with your thoughts or alone with your family. I think that shit's important. I grew up kind of hating the holidays traditionally. Orphan bullshit, right? When you're in foster care and stuff like that, like the holidays, or you spending Christmases in homeless shelters with your mom, like it leaves a sour taste in your mouth for the holidays. I remember we were actually featured on a news story, and that memory dislodged itself. I'd forgotten about that until recently. So, like, I'm a person who grew up kind of disliking the holidays, but as I've gotten older, as I've started a family, as I've started to manage my depression better, confronting it really, I've started to really see the value of holidays. So I just want to take the time to say, Happy Merry everybody, and Festivus for the rest of us, really. So as we'll do the feats of strength in a post-quarantine setting at a tournament, we can do some feats of strength. Someone can wrestle me if they wish to. Just be sure you give me a warning that you're cashing in that coupon from tonight. I'm not gonna wrestle you. I could shoot you though, like do some classic anyway. But we gotta do some airing of the grievances, right? And I'm actually drawing a blank. Like, I think the best types of grievances to air are petty ones, I think those are the best ones. Like, it always goes back to that Happy Gilmore scene where he swears at the ball, That, for me, is, like, the personification of what, to me, RantCast kind of is, like, you take a fiery, impassioned rant at something that's kind of inanimate and ultimately doesn't matter. That's a pair of really great grievances. I guess my petty grievance would be someone giving me a gift card instead of cash, or when people park too close to the line in the parking spot. That's a great one. I'll cheers to that. See, I don't mind gift cards, but you just got to give me a gift card to something that shows what I shop, where I shop. Like if you got me like a Games Workshop gift card, or like Molly's grandparents or whatever got me that, I'd be like, legit, cool. Or an Amazon gift card, or like, a Quick Trip. Like, I'm a big Quick Trip stan. Honestly, it's a problem. It's a real problem. Something like a Quick Trip gift card that turns into gas or food really quick. Sometimes beer, though I try not to buy my beer from Quick Trip. They tend on the more expensive side. Like, that's a thank you. You've made my life easier. There's a weird sort of like apprehension to giving people gift cards and cash and stuff around the holidays, and I like being thoughtful and coming up with a cool gift. Like, I'm not the type of person who gets a gift for everybody. I get a gift when the inspiration strikes me. So, like, you'd be walking through the store. Speaking of collecting glasses, I've got a friend who literally has a Rebel tattoo over his heart from Star Wars. Like, the Rebel Alliance tattoo over his heart. Huge Star Wars fan. I don't buy him stuff every year, but the one year I was in Kohl's and I saw the shot glasses where it was like Greedo. I think it was Target. I got targeted. It was Target. They had a shot glass for Greedo and a shot glass for Han, and it's like, like who shoots first, or something like that. I'm like, I gotta get that for him. But like giving me a gift card to fucking Ruby Tuesdays. Oh man, it's your grievance to air. Respect. Oh, it was the shooter style, so like the narrow, tall ones. It was brilliant. And I'm like, I saw that, I'm like, I have to get this for my buddy. And that's kind of how I go about like gifts. Is like, you've got the people you have to buy for, like your kids, parents, in-laws, that sort of thing. You have to get gifts for all of those folks. But usually for me, the fun part is in finding that thing that really just goes, yes. So. My petty grievance is Meph won't open a damn gift. You know what? Fine. Fine. I think I've got something under the tree back here. You'll note that the tree is purple, which is best color. Okay, Casper. Yes. Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry. Alright, so I don't handle like flattery and gifts very well. I usually go the embarrassed route. So got the wrapping job from Lulu here. And I just want to say that I will be doing a little bit of a Chat Gang appreciation stream. I think January or February abouts. And Nick True is going to help me with some stuff for that because I don't like doing giveaways to like boost my channel analytics and shit like that. But I want to do stuff for people that are already like fans and already have been with me for a long time. So not about being a sub or a patron or anything like that. If you're like, that's why I don't call it like, hey, welcome to Chat Gang when people sub. Like, Chat Gang is Chat Gang. Y'all are like, just by showing and chatting, like, we are all Chat Gang. Like, that's kind of the point. It's no fuck paywalls, right? So but I do want to do something to like show my appreciation. All the better that it's on stream. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and holy shit. Oh, that's so metal. Oh, that's awesome. We got a fucking... That's awesome. Oh, that's so fucking good. Fucking Iron Man is there and Captain America's shield. Oh, that's so fucking tight. This is coming out the box. I don't believe in leaving this shit in the box. Oh man, that's so fucking cool. I'm gonna go set this on its rightful place, up on the mantle. Fucking great. Oh man, thank you. Nice. Awesome. Oh man, that's fucking cool. I remember there was one night I was going through like my Amazon wish list or something like that. Yeah, that's super cool. Thank you so much, G-Dad. Thank you so much, Dave. A little story time, because this is a pre-show. Vince will be joining me about half an hour, so just wanted to chill, right? So Wolverine is by far my favorite superhero. Some of you may know the story, some of you may not. Wolverine's by far my favorite superhero. There was a period in time, I'm 35 years old, so that means I grew up alongside sort of the Fox cartoon sort of X-Men era, which meant you would go outside and you would play with all the neighborhood kids. We'd play X-Men, right? And no one wanted to be Wolverine. And I quote, because his powers didn't do anything. Now, like, to me, the thought of, like, popping some claws and just, like, fucking shit up and being kind of effectively immortal with the healing factor always seemed really cool to me. But, like, we actually had a kid who liked Cyclops. We had kids, my friend, my sort of, like, best friend at the time, his favorite was Nightcrawler. My one buddy always called dibs on Gambit because he had a awesome stick. You know when you're a kid and you like find the perfect stick in the woods. So he had the perfect stick for like a bow staff. So he was always Gambit, and I was always Wolverine. And it's the moxie, the like Wolverine, the rough spoken charm of Wolverine. Like I've always really liked that. I mean, he's Clint Eastwood. He is a samurai. Right? I've heard him, Stan Lee, yeah, Colossus, super strength was always super appealing to children, right? Wolverine's, like, stronger than like, the best way to put it is he's, like, pushed to the limits of human strength and possibilities because of his healing factor, his muscles are just, like, awesome, and, like, he doesn't actually feel the pain receptor that says stop picking this thing up or you'll blow out your literal muscles. So he doesn't feel that, so he can like lift shit at like the peak of human physique and stuff like that. So like I love Wolverine. And again, so I was like the only one who would play him, and so that kind of became a little bit of like an identity thing. There's, for me, and I talk about this a lot with nerdery, is like kind of trying to divorce the things we love from our identities. I think is very important when it comes to like taking criticism and not like getting suckered by the things you love. I think and part of that has to do with like sort of not tying your identity entirely to your hobby and stuff. But yeah, as a kid, for me, Wolverine was just like the shit, and that I was the only one who played him really was like this big deal for me. As I grew up, I watched basically like westerns on Sunday because we didn't have cable. We had like 3 channels, PBS, CBS, sometimes we could get ABC in, and then like one of the Foxes would like come in and out, and that was kind of like a constant throughout my whole life, is we always would get PBS and CBS, and then what other channels we would get was really just where did we live and did our antennas pick it up. So those were like, like what we watched and stuff like that, growing up. And I forgot why I talked about that, but the point is like, Saturday morning cartoons on Fox, like, you had it, you woke up, you watched it. So Wolverine became, like, the character I was, like, just kind of drawn to and loved, but on Sundays, that's what it was. On Sundays, like, I don't know if it was, like, if it was CBS or whatever channel it was would play Westerns. And, like, you usually get, like, spaghetti Westerns and, like, Kurosawa flicks. So, like, I would just, like, I would watch that, and, like, I drew that connection early that, like, Wolverine was, like, a samurai. And it was confirmed kind of in my teenage years when Stan the man himself, may he forever rest in peace, you think about, like, the gift Stan Lee gave to nerds. And I know that he didn't create as much as, he often gets credited for. He was usually more of a co-creator than just like 100% responsible for all the stuff he gets credit for. But he really did. Good morning, true believers. Like when he would be on the Iron Man cartoon or the old Spider-Man and Friends cartoon, like to be in your room, Stan Lee was like a father figure to me. That I didn't have a dad growing up, and to know that he infused this world with these stories that I just absolutely needed to escape my reality. And he himself said, like, Wolverine's like a Ronin, was a specific term he used. So he said he's like a Ronin, like a masterless samurai. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, Stan Lee confirmed what I always knew. And I remember Xenos all the way. Yeah. That's actually a really funny. Yeah, Southern Street. Yeah, they said that when I made it. Oh, that kind of hits me deep, man. I said that when I made it, I would buy a Wolverine bust and put it on my mantle. Real talk. Um, thanks for believing in me, man. That, thank you. Um, sorry. I get choked up here. That was sorry. That was awesome. Thank you. Wolverine, though, I remember. So like, I don't hide the fact that I was kind of, I got roughed up growing up. I got abused. Sometimes by my mom, usually by my mom's like random boyfriends. For a period in time, like I did have a stepdad, and he wasn't the worst, but he did collapse one of my lungs one night, and I remember my mom would be like, you can't tell anybody that you got hurt or that you got beat up. You got to tell them you fall. Like the classic cliche, the trope. So I talk about how I played hockey and I was a rollerblader. Um, I swear half the reason my mom kept me in hockey was it was the best alibi for how much I would be beat up. And I remember one time in particular, my mom was like, we were talking to, in North Carolina, it's DSS, Department of Social Services, right? I think up here it's like DPS or Child Services or whatever. So it's DSS. They were kind of like onto us, right? That we weren't living in a good situation. This is a little bit before I end up in foster care, and my mom was like, "You can't tell them, Andrew, because they'll split you and your sister up and your brother up, and you'll never see each other again. You'll never see me again." And I remember, like, getting called out of class and sitting in there, and the teacher asking me what happened to, I was wearing shorts, my knees were all banged to shit, and I had like gauze wrapped around it that I'd wrapped around myself with like electrical tape on like a really nasty like sort of scrape that was all down my side from getting thrown down. I think it was a flight of stairs or whatever. And I remember thinking if I was Wolverine, I could have healed and then I could stay with my family. So Wolverine, to just kind of put a point on this, has always been my favorite hero. Like, I like that as he's kind of matured as a character in the zeitgeist, he's actually gone from more of an anti-hero and initially a villain, right, in the Hulk, in his first appearance. He went from like sort of a villain to an anti-hero to around the time like he's in the X-Men cartoon. Like he's a little bit of like an edgy badass, but like he's still a good guy around that time. Even in like Claremont and Miller's depiction of him, he kind of becomes a, oh dude, I love the classic yellow and brown, man. Yeah, and he sort of progresses into an anti-hero for a little bit there, like a Punisher type, like I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is not nice, right? Like that's the Wolverine, like the old Wolverine quote, and not to be confused with his second most important quote, which is Berserker Barrage. It's a Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom joke for y'all. Yeah, he evolved into kind of becoming a hero around the time you have like Logan and the X-Men, and where actually there's runs where Wolverine or Logan takes over the school for Professor X. His relationship with Jubilee as like a paternal relationship. There's some writings where it's like a kind of a creepy, old man and love interest thing. But the best writings are when it's like a father figure to Jubilee and like, hey kid, like, and the actual like Logan movie, which shares a lot of with this old man Logan figure, the inspiration, and Hugh Jackman's literally Oscar-worthy performance with a character from a silly fucking comic book, right? About finding your family and stuff like that. Is like, I fucking Wolverine's always grown up with me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There are things that, like, I used to like, or I didn't like young, or, you know, like, the Smashing Pumpkins was one of my absolute favorite bands growing up. I can't say, I don't really say they're my favorite band anymore, or even one of my favorite bands. Like, me and Billy Corgan grew in two different directions, but Wolverine has always seemed to grow with me. So, my family is chat gang. Damn right. Damn right. Tornado Claw! Berserker Barrage! Oh, Old Man Logan was amazing. Was amazing, yeah. Right, exactly. Like that, the anti-hero thing. Like, he's willing to do good things, but he doesn't do it in a, like, the good way. You know, it's a little bit like, to use like a 40K reference, like Wolverine, anti-hero Wolverine, is a literal assassin. I mean, that's kind of what he is, and like he tries not to, like, murder a bunch of people in the way, but if you get in the way, you're gonna get murdered, and for him to execute the contract, right? So, yeah, anti-hero Wolverine, like, he's really kind of moved away from that, and they did the death of Wolverine, which was, like, pretty dramatic and pretty awesome, actually. They killed off his character for a few years. Wolverine was dead in comic book canon. Now, it's not... Well, he's a fucking samurai. Like, he's a fucking samurai, but you gotta keep in mind, a lot of ninja were samurai. That, like, you know, they couldn't outwardly or openly be against the shogunate, so they would be ninja at night, or they would go around with like farming implements. That's why, like, they use stuff like kama, because, like, oh, this is for shooking rice, when, like, the Meiji era banned weapons and stuff like that. So they would, like, they would still be able to, like, travel, take some weapons with them to go murk somebody that was, like, a rival in the feudal system, or whatever it was. So, like, a lot of people don't realize that, like, ninja, it's like, oh, ninja versus samurai. Well, a lot of times, I mean, that's true, because, you know, ninja were often trying to assassinate feudal lords and stuff like that, but it was more like samurai versus cooler samurai, because, like, they're just, and yeah, there was some, you know, so, yeah, X-Force was the sort of espionage wet work team. They got to stick together. They have the blue hair. That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, Wolverine is just awesome. It's a great gift for several different reasons, and you remembering me mentioning when I make it, I'm gonna get Wolverine bust and put it up on the mantle there. So I see what you did there. You're implying that I've already made it, huh? So that's my spiel on Wolverine. Oh, I could do a quick internet search for you. I have the Blu-ray, personally. Doesn't appear to be on any of the direct streaming services. Apparently YouTube, you can, like, direct do it, Vudu for like $3.99, Google Play for $3.99. You can rent it from a few places, I guess. So, yeah. I always liked Wolverine because he's short. Well, you know, you remember that was the biggest criticism. I'm a poor grad student. Oh, yeah, that sucks, man. It's worth a watch if you haven't seen it. It's one of my no bullshit, like, sort of top 5 favorite movies. It's like that, Blade Runner 2049, The Big Lebowski. So those are, like, probably my top 3 favorite movies. No, that's cool, man. Thanks for stopping by, and again, thank you for the present. It's very awesome. You've seen it many times. Oh yeah, it's a fantastic flick. So, one of the big criticisms of Hugh Jackman, huge act man, when he was cast for Wolverine was that he was too tall, because Hugh Jackman comes in at like 6 even, like 6 foot or 6'1". He's like he's tall, and everyone's like he's too tall, and I'm like, first off, they can just shoot down, like, to make him look shorter, and second off, how dare you? Like, fuck you. He like I have mixed emotions about all the X-Men movies, like all of them. I have very mixed feelings about all of them. I have never wavered in my love of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, and Ian McKellen as Magneto. In fact, the vast majority of the actors, even the douchebag who played Cyclops, like, his Cyclops portrayal was perfectly douchey, the way you would expect Cyclops to be. So, like, the casting was never a problem. It was just kind of like the scripts kind of sucked. Kelsey Grammer as, like, freaking Hank McCoy there for a little bit was Garbo. There's a few bad castings, but, like, the main characters were pretty solid. But he's the perfect Wolverine. Yeah, like, whoever. I mean, he's talking about, like, he's played Wolverine something like credited 16 times or some absurd amount, right? He has the single best cameo he has the single best F-bomb in a PG movie I've ever seen, which is there's a scene in X-Men First Class where they're going around trying to, like, gather X-Men. They walk into a bar. It's a perfectly, like, it's a Bill Murray-esque level cameo. Where, like, Bill Murray's cameo in Zombieland, I think, is one of the most show-stopping, sort of show-stealing moments in film history. But like, he has they have that scene where they go in and they just walk in and they're like, we're gonna do, and he's just like, fuck off. And, like he's just drinking a beer. It's so good. It's so fucking good. Like, I'm like, he said 2 words in one scene and, like, stole the movie. Just crushed it. So, like, he is. I don't know who will play the Wolverine of the future, and I'm not gonna. In general, I'm not the kind of guy who gets curmudgeonly about, like, my Wolverine will always be this Wolverine. I'm like, or I just draw the line in the sand, and I'm gonna hate the new thing because they cast a different person to play Wolverine. You know, like, I'm not that person. I'm open to seeing who plays it, but there's no way. Like, that shadow, that huge act man will always cast over that role it's permanent. You know, in a way that, like, Heath Ledger's Joker, Joaquin Phoenix did a fine job. He's a very, very talented actor, but Heath Ledger's, he sort of reimagined and breathed air into a character that you didn't think could kind of, like, confound you again, you know? So I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, I'm sure, like, they'll reboot Harry Potter in, like, 16 years or something like that, right? Once someone else will play Harry Potter, but Daniel Radcliffe, they'll be fine, whoever does it, but it'll be hard to, like, not see Daniel Radcliffe and be like, that's Harry Potter, right? It'll be virtually impossible for anyone who grew up watching that role. And part of it might be nostalgia. I do think that his sort of, like, his quiet charm, he had this really reserved charm for the role. And it comes through him in a person. His episodes of Hot Ones, he had his episode of Hot Ones for this year. I think it might have been the season finale even for Hot Ones, which is where they eat hot wings and they do an interview. He's doing it on a camera, like in a Zoom meeting, right? Because quarantine. It might be one of the, not just best Hot Ones, it might be one of the best interviews of, like, a hero I have that I've seen in I don't even know how long. Because, like, Daniel Radcliffe is, like, awesome. His ability to, quite frankly, manage the craziness and the stink that J.K. Rowling puts on her own IP, his ability to, like, manage that without shitting on fans, and, like, his presser about, like, supporting trans people and stuff like that. Like, he said it in the most just, like, eloquent way you possibly could. Oh yeah. Oh, Hot Ones is a great interview show. Fantastic. Like he did. He asked. He had Undertaker on. And he asked Undertaker like 3 questions because Undertaker, professional wrestler. I probably don't need to mention it. He had the fucking Undertaker on, and he freaking caught Taker with questions he's never heard. He's just like, whoa, you really do your homework type thing. It was awesome. I was just like, because Taker's been doing interviews. He's been in the business, 30 years of Undertaker. He's heard every question, right? And there's a little bit of like, when even like I try to be a very good interviewer. It's something I actively aspire to be. Being a good host and an interviewer, those are things that are like that's my bar for RantCast. My RantCast isn't about being the best produced show or, the hottest takes or anything like that. It's not. I don't set out to be the most educational show. I set out to be one of the best interview shows. That's my stuff. So I watch good interviewers and see what they do, and I try to incorporate that. Yeah, that's the one. He's Undertaker's quote: "The asses you kiss on the, or the what is it? The toes that you step on the way up are connected to the asses you kiss on the way down." It's the toes that you step on the way up. Henry Cavill is a fucking darling. Yeah, like Henry Cavill, and not just because it turned out he's into Warhams, but it was like, I've always had a small crush on Cavill because he's like, one in Stardust, kind of like a really charming, kind of douchey villain-esque role, which I really like, villains. And then like, say what you will about the Man of Steel movies or whatever. Like, I don't... We can, like, shit on the scripts forever. But, like... He is Superman. He is a specimen of, like... if there is a Superman that, like, that Michelangelo would sculpt, right? It would be Catacross, and, like, Henry Cavill should play Catacross, right? Oh, it's terrible writing, and like it's the tone of the Superman films was just wrong. They forgot to be fun. They went for dour and grimdark, which I don't think works for Superman. You gotta have the back and forth for Superman. Superman is a story of duality, right? You need the dichotomy of Superman. Batman works just fine with like the gray filter on the camera the whole time. Batman is the feature character of Batman stories. Bruce Wayne, who gives a shit about Bruce Wayne, for the most part, right? There's some really cool stuff with Bruce Wayne from time to time, but for the most part, it's like, when you're getting a Batman story, you want Batman the super detective, doing super detective stuff and, like, being kind of a ninja. With Superman, his story is one of this sort of human duality. And you can't capture that without having both the lighthearted and the dark. You can't capture that with having both the human and the superhuman. Like, you can't do Superman justice. This is why Superman is a fantastic character, but tends to have horrible stories. More so than, like, Batman has, like, a pretty good water level of the average story you get from Batman. Batman's easier to write. You only have to tell one story with Batman. He's a ninja and solves crimes. That's the story you tell with Batman. And you just get more and more interesting with the detective fiction crap and what he kills, right? Or what he fights. You can do some stuff. Again, you can add layers to that cake. You can be like, oh, here's a love interest with Selena Kyle. You can layer in some really good stuff. But at the baseline story you tell for Batman, super easy to tell. And then from there you can refine it and make it. That's what makes Batman really easy and palatable to write. Superman's hard. Superman is difficult to write good stories for. Because to tell the story of Superman, you got to tell the story of Clark Kent. Like, you have to. The David Carradine speech in Kill Bill 2 is one of the greatest speeches in film. He has that thing where he says, like, the Superman is Superman. He was born Superman. The costume is Clark Kent. And that's one of the things in the superhero mythology that makes Superman almost unique. His cape was his blanket. that he was wrapped in. Like, he's Superman as a character. Yeah. But that chin, that cleft, and seeing him as Geralt, as the Witcher, has been fantastic. Apparently, he's just like the number of leather outfits he has to go through per shoot or something like that is costing like a measurable amount of the budget, because he just keeps like huging his way through like all the leather suits and stuff. And there was a supercut of all of his there's a supercut of all of his groanings or something like that. Oh yeah, his thighs cannot be contained. like he is too physically perfect to be contained by mere clothes. I fucking love Henry Cavill. But yeah. And someone did a supercut of all the times he like groans or grunts, and they're like, they did it as a negative thing. They're like, oh, Witcher sucks because all he ever does is groan, and I'm like, no, that's the best line. It's like when Vin Diesel recorded like 1,000 takes of I Am Groot, right? Oh yeah, it's amazing. Where and they use different takes for the different inflections and stuff like that, and it's the work. It's kind of pointless, but it shows by making Groot feel a little bit more like deeper as a character, even though it's a stupid tree that says I am Groot, right? To oversimplify things, right? Geralt, the amount of different intonations he delivers in groaning as Geralt is amazing. Like, he has the sarcastic groan, he has the, like, fuck off groan, he has the, like, he's, like, inconvenienced groan, where he's just like, this shit again. Like, a lazy writer could have wrote, this shit again, as a sentence, but instead, it's just a single groan that says all of that. That is why it's perfect. It's fantastic. It's, like, it's perfectly efficient writing, and well acted. I love it. It's amazing. I would posit that Vin Diesel's best role is the Iron Giant, but I'm being super hipster to deliver that one. yeah. Freaking Dandelion monologues, Geralt. Fuck. Got a couple minutes here, theoretically, before Vince shows up. So, Iron Giant, not a hipster. Yeah. He only has, like, one spoken line, apart from, like, screaming and stuff. It's, you stay, I go, right? And then the, I'm Superman. See, he really doesn't have... Just like that, we loop back to Superman, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he prepped for the role. Oh, Pitch Black is fantastic. Pitch Black is fantastic. The problem is he was so good in that role that he was just typecast as, like, gravel-voiced badass virtually his entire career. And I think he's got more depth than that. But, like, he's a nerd. He's working on a video game. He's owned a video game company forever. Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay is actually a fantastic game. If you catch it like on a Steam sale, or like you see it used like for Xbox 360 or PlayStation 2, like, pick it up. It's a fantastic game. The Xbox 360 port is very competent. Very, very competent. Fantastic game. Quest hubby, like, RPG action stealth game, like, it's really good. The story's pretty solid. The voice acting's good for the time. Riddick's voice acting is delivered well because Vin Diesel's a fucking professional, but it's got like Exhibit and stuff in there, and like they're just being like Exhibit's just being Exhibit in a video game, right? Which is why you hire Exhibit to be in your thing. Although Method Man has been showing up in some shit lately, and I'm like, fuck yeah, like he's been kicking ass. He was in a couple like Netflix films. He was played a preacher in what was it, like Vampires versus Brooklyn or whatever. It was so good. It was so good. Oh ho ho ho! How's it going, Tristan? Oh yeah, the RZA narrated has been like narrating some shit, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. Vince might have actually messaged me here in Discord, so let me minimize this for a sec. Nope, we're good. Tomb King Tristan dropping 1,000 RDP to remind everyone that chat gang ain't nothing to fuck with. Oh, the Hulu sort of like biopic series on Wu-Tang Clan has been excellent. I gotta pick it back up. I watched a couple episodes, but that's been really good. Cleaning up after having my bubble over for Christmas. Chowder. Say chowder. What is Boxing Day, by the way? Yeah, he's in Daybreak or whatever it's called. Not to be confused with Daybreakers. He was in like, I think it's Daybreak or something like that. I watched it. I heard it didn't get like it didn't get a renewed for another season, so I kind of stopped watching it. It's based on a comic book. I actually like the series better than the comic book. I think the comic book is kind of shite. But the TV show's been enjoyable. I thought so. It's got a lot more humor to it than the comic book did. Comic book's a lot more edgelord. Oh, is that what that is? Right on. Right on. So it is, you know, I kind of did my intro earlier on, but just to reset it, you know, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, chat gang. If you don't celebrate Christmas, you know, wishing you a happy holiday anyway. Just, it's a good time of the year to just be alone with your family, be alone with your thoughts, however you celebrate, however you reset. So, you know, Merry Christmas. And when I say Merry Christmas, it has an asterisk on it, and the subtext is just, you know, excellent timings to you, my friend. So, that's cool. It's a holiday there that is a day of rest. Yeah, we don't get that shit. Yeah, you know, happy Saturnalia, right? Like, whatever it is. If you you know, get down with them old pagan solstice celebrations, you know, freaking party hard, jump over all the fucking bonfires, man. Like, rock it. Whatever you do. And even if you do nothing, even if you just chill. So, but there is Festivus for the rest of us. Which means, in particular, you know, wouldn't be RantCast without like airing some petty grievances. The pettier, the better, chat gang. So if you got a petty grievance to air right now, feel free to drop those on me. Kicker already had a great one. People who park too close to the line in a parking lot. Like, oh man. The pettier the grievance, the better. Took 2 weeks off after having a work 10-hour day, 6 days per week. So happy, but I have no idea what to do with myself now. Hobby's always a good thing. Do something creative, something productive. But there's no harm in just needing chill time. You know, read a book, binge watch a show you've been wanting to get into. If you haven't seen Cobra Kai yet on Netflix, fucking get into that. Watch that shit. Watch the third season comes out January 1st. One of the best things. I actually we did the free trial of like YouTube Red or whatever it was, or YouTube Premium, whatever the fuck it was, back when Cobra Kai came out, and we got the free trial, binge watched all of Cobra Kai, and then canceled the free trial immediately. So No regrets, and I love that Netflix picked it up because it just made it easier. Because the second season we had to watch via a what do you call it, a share link or whatever. It said YouTube Red, not to be confused with RedTube, which was probably just a terrible naming scheme on their part. I was a StarCraft nerd all my life. Yeah. Look, I don't kink shame. Is that I don't keep up on like 2020's top 10 porn sites. Sorry. Maybe. Actually, that might have been the marketing decision, right? Maybe that's why. I mean, advertisers are very good at their job. I heard it was entertaining. I feel like nerds take our shit too seriously. This goes to kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier. No Vince yet. We kind of take our shit way too seriously. Like, we think it's like sacrosanct, and when you make a comic book movie, it's got to be like the fucking best version of that ever, right? And sometimes it's like, no, they can just be fun. Like, I mean, there's not a whole lot of substance to Venom. He had a series of really good comic runs as standalones, especially when he comes a bit more of an anti-hero and he's opposed to Carnage, like hates Carnage, right? So there's some pretty good comic book runs in there. But like at its inception, a lot of Venom's existence has been as a counterpoint to Spider-Man. So standalones of Venom, except for with the anti-hero stuff, which in like the late 90s, which was actually pretty good. It's really hard to like stand on its own two legs. Yo, Maximum Carnage, fantastic. Separation Anxiety, both those like any SNES / arcade era. Here we go.